Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Trimcraft Tuesday video. This week I am scrapbooking with the V&A 2 collection. I've had this for a couple of months but haven't scrapbooked with it yet, and I've had this idea for a layout in my head and it was about time I got it done. So I was just there holding up my photo against two papers that I thought would be good for the background. I decided on that green one because it's just really pretty, and there's kind of a tone in the photo that really matches that background quite nicely. I'll talk about my photo a bit later on, but what I'm starting to do with this is just cut a 7-inch circle, I think it was, out of some white cardstock. The circle cutter I'm using is an X-cut one. It's all right. It's not fabulous, but it's all right. I'm desperately waiting for that We Are Memory Keepers circle spin and trim to be available or readily available in the UK because it looks so good. But anyways, once I'd actually cut that bigger circle though, it looked a little bit too white against the background, so I decided to cut a smaller one. I'm gonna say I think I did it about 5 3/4 inches, that one. But then I'm also going to tone down the white one by putting a little bit of Distress Oxide in tea dye around the edge of that. The Distress Oxide and tea dye goes so beautifully with this collection. It's just like a perfect little match. Anyways, I set that aside for now because I wanted to do something very similar to what I did last week, which is to make some embellishments out of some stamps. These are the V&A stamps. Well, there's two sets. There's a sentiment set and this floral stamp and die set as well. So I'm just using my Tim Holtz stamp platform to stamp some of those out with some StazOn ink. And it was stamping not very well today. I don't know what was going on there. Maybe I wasn't putting enough pressure on it. I don't know. But yeah, so I stamped those out a bunch of times. I'm just sticking with these. I'm not doing any others for this one, but yes. And then once they're all stamped out with the StazOn, I'm going to go over them with some watercolors to color them, just finishing off my stamping here. Just wanted to make sure I had lots of the leaves because, you know, when you want to make little floral clusters and stuff, it's always a good idea to have lots of leaves. So I'm taking my Kuretake watercolors and just sort of activating some of my chosen colors, and then I'm just going to go in and yeah, paint them really. Now Kuretakes, don't get me wrong, I love them so much, but I think traditionally speaking they're not strictly watercolors. I was reading about this recently, something about because they're so creamy and pigmented, they're not by definition proper watercolors. I don't know, I don't understand these things, but yeah, as you can see they are really pigmented. So I do keep going back over those flowers and adding more water just to kind of wash away that really strong colour a little bit, because I mean they're very pretty colours but they don't quite match with the papers. I put the paper pad there so I could try and match the colours. Don't think I did that very successfully, but oh well. So yes, I just keep adding more and more water to kind of, you can see me adding that green there, it's like whoa green, and I just, yeah, like I didn't need to pick up any more from the paint palette. I just needed to use what was on the paper. So I'm just covering those. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to the green as well, just to give it a slightly different tone. And then I also think I go in with a little bit of the shimmery gold, just to add, yeah, you know, a little bit of shimmer over the top. Another thing with the Kuretakes as well, if you're going over stamps with them, if your paint is too thick kind of thing, then you kind of lose the stamped image a little bit underneath the paint. So I always make sure to do a good wash of water so you can still see that black line of the stamp, which is what I'm doing to that flower right now, and then just sort of washing away some of that excess colour kind of thing. So putting those aside to dry, I'm going to work on my sort of floral wreath thingy, and I'm using the sort of little washi tape stickers that come with this collection, which I just love so much. So if you are not familiar with these, it's just like it's a roll of washi tape, but each little separate petal or leaf comes off separately kind of thing, and they are just so pretty. So using the smaller circle as a guide, I'm just going to go around the whole thing. I'm interchanging between putting a load of green leaves down and then a load of the pink petals. There's different layers and stuff, and I do sort of massively speed this up to about 8 times any second now, because it did take me quite a while putting all those little separate leaves and petals down. Here we go, now I'm going super fast. So yes, that's what I'm doing there. I had this floral wreath idea in my head for ages, and it was finally the time to do it. The photo is of little Grace, little me. I think I'm about 9 or 10 in this picture. And there's my big sister Rachel, my eldest sister, and obviously I'm eating something very delicious and not interested in the photo being taken whatsoever. But yeah, I just think it's a really cute photo, and the colours match, the colours of the photo, the tone of the photo, as I was saying, sort of matches with the collection really, really nicely. And I don't know how well you guys can see it, but the dress I was wearing at that event, it was like my dad's leaving do from a job or something. I think that's what it was. I could be wrong on that, but whatever. The dress I was wearing was white with pink florals on, like really delicate pink florals that sort of, again, match the collection really well. I actually think the dress I was wearing was my sister Rachel's bridesmaid's dress when my mum and dad got married, actually. Obviously kept it around. I loved that dress so much. I was devastated when I grew out of it. Someone in a garden nearby is doing something noisy with a chainsaw, so I'm sorry if you can hear that in the background. Anyways, I just backed my photo once my wreath was done. I just very thin layer of that sort of, how do we want to describe that colour? Sort of that browny, beigey, but it's a pearlescent paper. Anyway, just a really, really thin border around that because I didn't want to take away from my wreath. But I suppose I could have left the layout just with, you know, the circles and everything, but I really needed to add some more texture and depth to it just for my taste and stuff. So I'm just going to add some of the ribbon from the collection, just going across the middle there. Having some trouble with my red line tape there. I think my hands were really cold, and you know when your hands are cold and your fingers just sort of cease to function properly and you can't do basic tasks. Yeah, that was happening. So yes, I'm adding that ribbon across there, and then because it was sort of two lines, it looked a bit weird. So I'm taking some of this super thick garden twine, which I stole from my mother, and just having it in three things across there, and just to stick it on the back, I'm just using some really, really wide masking tape just to put it in place. Once the layout is finished, I don't do this on camera, but once it was finished, I did back the whole thing with another paper just on the back, just so everything would stay in place, because the masking tape was not going to hold, you know, forever. It would hold for a year or so, but eventually it will peel off. So yes, but I like that it adds a lot more texture to the layout, and I was happy with that. I did add tea dye oxide as well around the second circle, just to tie it in with the other one. Distressed the edges of the photo backing just a tiny bit, but I think it made all the difference for me anyways. Just adding more texture and stuff. And then to stick my circle cluster down, I'm just using some bits of foam. This is actually Dovecraft Junior foam squares. I buy these from the range, not foam squares, they're A5 sheets. But yeah, I buy them from the range and they're so cheap, so I love them for that. But when I put it down like that, because the twine is so thick, it's like thicker than the foam, it was causing the middle of the circle to pop up a bit, so I had to do a double layer of foam there to have it really, really popping up and not be disturbed by the twine. Is that the right word? It's probably not the right word. So with that on and dry, next I'm going to take my little floral embellishments that I made earlier. Obviously they're all cut out, and I'm just going to play around with those and where I want to put them. I'm sticking with those lighter flowers, the really, really light pink ones, because the darker ones were just, they were not working. But I always make, when I do this, I always make more than I know that I'm going to need, so that I have more choice when it comes to using them, and then I always end up keeping some and using them on a different project, so it's not like a wasted time or effort or anything like that. So yes, just gluing those on there with some tacky glue. For my title, this is one of those days, you know, when you just cannot think of a title and you just spend ages going through all your alphas and all your wooden words and pre-made titles and stuff, and you just can't find anything. So it's a bit of a bleh title, but it'll do. The little memories wooden piece, that's the one I chose first because I thought the wooden piece just went really, really nicely with the whole layout. And then I found that beautiful, which is from a crepe paper collection, Oasis, I think. It's an old one. I've had these words for ages, and I almost always end up resorting to them when I'm stuck on a title, so I'm going to be devastated when I've run out of those. But yes, adding more tacky glue to that beautiful sticker title, because it's not very sticky after all this time. But yes, as I said, it's a bit basic, but it's fine. The wooden piece, by the way, it was a gift, so I don't know where it's from, so sorry about that. Next, I'm going to add some pearls. I've got the green and pink ones, which are from the collection, and then I also wanted to add some well, you know, pearl-coloured pearls, a sort of whitish ivory colour. So those are just from my stash. Probably Home Bargains ones. Home Bargains do some really good pearls. Always in their wedding section, never in their craft section, in the wedding section. And I buy them in bulk because they're dirt cheap. But anyways, once I've got my pearls down, I've added 3 clusters of 3. And then I'm going to go maybe arguably a little bit overboard with the sequins from V&A 2. But they're just the most beautiful gold and pink colours. They're like vintage gold and vintage pink. They're just so pretty. So I'm just sticking many of those down. Like, I started with a few and then I got carried away, so I've kind of done them in a sort of diagonal shape going from the top right down to the bottom left. I'm just going to add here a couple of little phrase stickers. This is from the Jen Hadfield sticker book, and the sort of vintagey vibe of that book goes really nicely with this collection as well. So just a couple of little sort of family related stickers there. And then I also wanted to add some of the Tim Holtz clipping stickers because they match beautifully. Oh, this little label as well from Jen Hadfield with the gold around the edge, but I found a Tim Holtz sticker that said Beauty and Grace, and I thought that would be funny to use because my name is Grace, so my sister can be Beauty and I can be Grace. Hilarious. Not at all. Anyways, now I'm just adding some splatters. This is Heidi Swap Colour Shine in Blush. I always have difficulty with this one because it never shakes up properly. So you have to shake it more kind of thing, and then it's kind of bubbly and kind of looks weird. But anyway, so the splatters never quite splatter exactly how I want them to, but they'll do. At that stage, however, I was kind of like, I'm not 100% happy with this. Something is missing. So I decided to go for one of my often used tactics of when I'm not happy towards the end and do a folded over corner. So as you saw, I folded it over. I added a little bit more tea dye because with just the white behind it was too stark. Added a paper behind that, which is that same floral paper I've used for the second circle. So I've used that twice and that all ties in together. Adding a few more little Tim Holtz phrase stickers. One says something like corner of your heart, and that amused me because it's in the corner kind of thing. I know I'm really, really lame, but little things like that just amuse me. Anyways, adding a few more little pearls up there and then a few more splatters so the whole thing ties in together. And I think with that, that is the end. So hopefully just about now you will be seeing some close-ups. If you notice on the photo, there's like a red number on the photo, like it says 62 or something. Weird thing. You can't see that in person, like with the naked eye kind of thing. It's something the camera is picking up. I noticed it when I was editing the photo. I was like, hang on, where's that bright red number come from? So you'll be able to see it in the photos, but you can't see it in real life. Anyways, thank you as always so much for watching. I will add links in the description box to where you can get this collection from and other items that I have used. And yes, there we go. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments, and yeah, okay, going. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.